Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk you through this flowchart that should help you as you're deciding when to use what methods for factoring. So let's start up at the top. The very first question that you should ask yourself is there a GCF? If there is a GCF, if the answer is yes, then you should factor out the GCF. If the answer is no, the next question you're going to ask yourself is how many terms. So if there is a GCF, you factor out the GCF and then you return to this how many terms question. So the GCF is the first thing that you should do. Secondly, you ask yourself how many terms. And we're going to have three options here. There could be 2 terms, there could be 3 terms, or there could be more than 3, which we actually haven't talked about yet. If you have 2 terms, the next question you ask yourself, is it dots? So is it a difference of 2 squares? If the answer is yes, factor it using the factoring pattern for dots, a plus b, a minus b. So if you had a squared minus b squared, it would factor into a plus b, a minus b. If the answer to is it a dots, if the answer to that is no, next you want to figure out, is it a sum of cubes, soc, or is it a difference of cubes, doc? So there you want to investigate, do I have 2 perfect cubes? And if you do, then it's a sum or difference of cubes. And these are the 2 patterns. Recall the first one would be for if you had a sum of cubes, and the second one is for if you had a difference of cubes. But remember, it's the same pattern, you just have to get your signs straight. So the first binomial has the same sign, the first sign in the trinomial is opposite, and then the last sign is always positive. If it's not a dots and it's not a sum or difference of cubes, you might have a prime polynomial, meaning that you can't factor it. Now, technically, if there was a GCF to start, it's not prime because you factored out the GCF. But if you can't keep factoring after that, then you're done. Okay, if we go back to how many terms, if the answer is there are 3 terms, the first thing we want to ask ourselves is it a perfect square trinomial? If it is, we can use our 2 factoring patterns. This is for a positive perfect square trinomial, and this is for a difference perfect square trinomial. If it's not a perfect square trinomial, then you're going to use your guessing and checking for general trinomial factoring. And here you need to pay attention to whether the a value is more or less than 1. And remember, this chart down here is how you can work on your signs. So that's it. This flowchart is where you should start every time you have to factor something. Is there a GCF? If there is, take care of it. How many terms? If there's 2 terms, is it a dots? Is it a soc? Is it a doc? Or if there's 3 terms, is it a PST? And if it's none of those special things, then we're probably over here in our general trinomial factoring, and we're just guessing and checking factors of A and C that combine in a way to give me B. Okay, go on to the next videos to see me use this in action.